Okay, all right, everybody, welcome. Tonight we're gonna go over my A plus setup for going long or short, and then also we're gonna find out how to find the setup in different time frames. Because as you know, sometimes the question is like, if you're looking at a 5 minute, 1 minute, 15, 1 hour, or daily, it doesn't matter. I'll show you guys how to find these setups. And then also how to determine your position size. Right? Position size is very important um, in relatives to your account size. So we'll go over that as well. And then how to calculate your risk reward ratio. So meaning like, how much are you willing to bet? And then how much are you willing to lose? And what is the upside? All right, we'll go over that. And then how to identify your stop loss and profit levels based on whatever indicators that you're using, Fibonacci extensions or 10 and 20 SMAs or the 200 SMAs. We'll go over that. So, all right, so let's begin. Okay, A plus setups. I don't know if you guys saw my post under I believe that was under check my charts. So if you guys can glance real quick over to check my charts, the last post I made, you can see the Tilray was my prime example. And just to use a pattern purposes, let me make this clear. Okay, let me know if you guys can see this chart. If you guys can see my
Yes,
Yep,
sir.
we can see it.
okay,
Hooray.
awesome, awesome. All right, so let's go over what A plus setup means to me. So an A plus setup means after like a hard day of sell-off or multi-day or whatever time frame you're looking at, right? Because again, you can see this on the different time frames. Um, so as you can see, we talked about the 10 and 20 SMAs. There's your 20, which is the blue, and here's your 10, right? And ideally, if you're a short-term trader, like let's say intraday trader, which is like you're looking to trade for the day and you're not looking to hold that trade the following day. So you're looking to get in today and get out today. What you want to see is the directional trend of a stock. So in this case is Tilray, right? And as we can see, it sold off. This was on the 30th. We're just going to use it as an example. It sold off pretty well and it respected that 10 SMA on the 5 minute pretty good until it got over to this side right here, right? It crossed over. So for me, what I want to do is figure out this level, right? So this is basically like a trend reversal potential. And once it gets over the 10 and 20 SMA, that tells me that, okay, so buyers came in. So if you were to draw a line here, we're gonna look left to find out why did it bounce there. Oh shoot, extension to the left. Okay, so zoom out. Okay, this was right here. So we're gonna look left. So as we can see, there's a lot of consolidation right here, and potentially this is a support zone, right? We can see it right here. Okay, so now that tells me, okay, that was some sort of support levels, and now it's trying to transition to or reversal. And this is basically my setup. And you can see this um, going, obviously we're looking for the bounce in this case. You can see the same pattern on the downside. So on the Tilray, what I did was all I did was switch the start the chart into a negative. So now it's upside down. Let me see. Okay, 30th right here. So as you can see, it's the same chart. It's the same chart. All I did was flip it. And if you guys didn't know that, you can do that on Thinkorswim. Just put negative and then the ticker symbol if you didn't know
Oh wow, I did not know that.
it. It's a trick. But you can see it now, right? It's the same setup. It's the same chart. But now if you flip it, you're like, "Oh my God, this is such a short setup," right? Wouldn't you like read the same thing? Like your confidence would be like, "Oh, this is such a short setup right now," because we talked about, sideways consolidation and then break below the 1020 and that's showing weakness, right? And that's another way you can confirm your belief. Like if you have a doubt on a chart, on a regular chart, right? It's not a negative because this tells you this is this will clarify your confirmation bias, right? So let's say you're looking at SPY. All right, you're like looking at SPY. You're like, oh man, this is bearish. Like the market should keep going down. So mentally, you're already thinking short, right? You're already thinking like short. So your brain is only seeing or wants to see like short trades. Um, you're gonna disregard the setup when it presents itself to the long side because you're such a short bias already. And the only way you can really like confirm that is a trick you can do is turn your chart negative, and if it still makes sense to you, right? Um, with the same amount of conviction to go, okay, if you're short bias, it looks good. If you flip it the other way to a long bias, does it still look good? If you flip it, it's the same chart. If you flip it and your confirmation changes or the level of conviction changes based on just flipping the chart, then that tells you you're more biased to one side, right? I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know that
You
that
guys are
does for
following?
sure.
Because I've been in this situation before to where I'm so convinced that the stock will go up or down, I get blinded by what it's actually presenting. But if you do that quick little cheat code of like going negative, right? And if you feel the same way, if you still, why is it so laggy? If you feel the same way still with high conviction on that direction, then it's a confirmation, right? So that's one way to do it. Let me make sure. Okay. So again, that setup, just remember this. Remember this. When it crosses over after it trends, you're not gonna change your bias until you see this, right? Until you see this area. It puts on a low and it breaks the 10 and 20 to the upside, and then especially right here in this area when it starts forming that basket, right? Even better when the 10 SMA crosses over the top of the 20 SMA and then it trends up. And your next target is always the next level of resistance, which is the 200 SMA. Okay. And you can see the same patterns. Let's say you switch over to the hourly. Okay, this is the hourly here. So we'll zoom out. You can see the same thing. Okay, here's a long trade right here, right? Okay, where you see the 10 crosses over the 20 to the upside, right? Before even the real breakout. Like even this three candles right here, this three 1 hour candle, okay? This tells you this thing is loading up to the upside. Like you could have caught this move to the upside just recognizing that. And again, this is a different time frame. We looked at the 5 minute earlier, right? The 5 minute on the this day right here. Same setup, right? Okay. So the probability of it running from here is pretty good. And if you find that on a bigger time frame, like the 1 hour especially, or even the daily, I would say it's a high probability setup to really load up on this trade. Okay. So again, this is literally my A plus setup when it comes to taking a trade to go long or short. Because again, you can flip this same chart and it will look exactly the same. Okay. You would have the same conviction if you go negative here. Look at this. Okay. Same exact conviction. Okay. When I see that chart is the 10 crossed over the 20 to the downside, I would have been comfortable to size up a little more because that is the setup. And again, you can see the setups in a 5 minute, 1 minute, whatever it is. The only difference that you need to consider is the time frame, right? So if you have a 1 hour time frame that you're looking at, right, your range should be much bigger. But if you're looking at the 5 minute, right, the 5 minute time frame, when it happens on the 5 minute, typically what I want to do is I want to target like the next major support levels, especially on this short, or the 200 SMA. Typically the 200 SMA is going to be like right below. All right. So just remember that. And what you can do is like literally screenshot that, find any favorite stocks that you like, and find that same pattern and screenshot it. Okay. You can screenshot this pattern right here and then put it on your wall and just memorize that setup. The moment you see this setup, that is your high probability trade. Okay?
Here's a question, TJ.
Yeah,
The day right before it, where you see the green candles right there on this inverted,
that's fine.
it crosses above the 20. So the day before, like the
Oh, this one.
back, right there. So it crosses above. So what's the difference from this? Like, oh, taking that to the 200, which is above it, but it didn't get there. You see that? And
The
then it went
10, the
down.
10 is not above the 20. The
Okay.
the 10 is not above the 20. That you want the 10 to lead your direction of trade, right?
So
Because
it's not just a close above the 20, it's the 10 also above the
yeah,
20.
because the 10 is your lead and your 20 is your confirmation, right? Is your 10 is your weaker signal and your 20 is your stronger signal. So if your 10 is below and it's pointing down, the 20 is also pointing down. What does that tell you? The probability of it reversing, like I said, is high, right? We talked
Okay, so
about
that
that.
wasn't a good breakout then
No, this
above
is
the
this is
20.
not this is not a long setup here.
Um,
The
gotcha.
long setup fake out would have been right here because the 10 did cross over, right? The 10 did cross over, but then you would have gotten stopped out by the time it got to here. So look at that.
Mm,
Look at your spread of entry. So if you got in long on this guy, right, because that's the 10 that crossed over, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go long because the 10 is above the 20 and it's forming the cup right here, and then you got stopped out right here. So that's your stop out range. But look at your long winning trade, right, all the way out here. Massive, massive, massive. Okay, and again, so there's nothing wrong with you taking this trade right here to the long side. Um, this guy right here. But that's already after hours, which I would never take anyway, right?
right.
But this right here wasn't an initial entry. Okay, it's not it's not
Gotcha.
a it's not a clean entry. So if you got in, let's say you were like, oh look, it crossed over above the 10 or above the 20, I'm gonna take that trade. It's after hours still, but you took the trade anyway. That's fine. You went over a confirmation crossover above the 10, above the 20, and you would have gotten stopped out right here, or the first this candle right here, which is fine. And then you would have been like, oh, I'm
Gotcha.
gonna go short, and then boom, you made all your money back. Okay.
Yes, yeah, that helps.
All right. So how to find setups in different time frames? Okay. So let me show you guys a tool. Let me see. Let me just go over how to position size. Oh, okay. Let me go over the position size real quick, which is number three. Number three on the topic. So position sizing um is very important. So if you have, let's say, a $5,000 account, okay, a $5,000 account is very doable. So if you go on a trade and you're taking an A plus setup, high probability setup, um, I would go like we talked about is roughly about 20% of your account. So if you take this trade on the short side, or even let's just say let's use this example right here. You went long, right? You went long. You're using 20% of your buying power or of your account, which is $1,000 out of your 5,000. So you have $1,000 into that trade, but then you got stopped out by the time it crosses over here. So you took a loss. But then you put in another 20%, which is another $1,000 on a short trade, right? You took that trade and now you won. Let's say you didn't get stopped out until like this candle over here on the next, the second day, 2 days, because that's where the crossover is. But if you see the difference, let's just say you lost, whatever this box is. Let's just call it $100. Okay, you lost $100, and you made, let's see, one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you made $700. So you lost 100, but you made seven. And that's kind of a way to like really you can see that your account is going to be growing. So the following day, the next trade that you're going to take, 20% of your account again. Your stop out is so small based on this concept, guys. Okay? Based on this concept, your stop out is so small compared to your wins, right? If you can manage to hold through all these trades, and again, this is an hourly candle, one, two, three, four, and the following day, right? Managing your emotion between this trade is gonna be the work of art. That's where it's gonna take time, right? So overall, the strategy works very well, risk reward wise. Okay, and so ideally, position sizing is 20% of your account because you're gonna stop out immediately, and you're cutting out your loss losing trades as small as possible, and letting the winners ride as long as possible. Okay, so risk reward ratio is about 20% position sizing. Let me see number four. I'm gonna skip number two because I'm gonna show you guys FinViz how to calculate risk reward ratio. So risk reward ratio. So basically, again, right here, um, we're gonna use this example, right? Let's see here, this trade. So basically, if you got in on this trade right here, right, to go long, and your stop out was right here, right, which is the break of 10 and 20 to the opposite side. Okay, so you're risking whatever this box is. So, or let me see here. So you're risking, what is that? 21 cents, right? You're risking 21 cents to break, and then to make, potentially, if you look at a bigger time frame, let's say you're targeting the bottom of this right here, of this guy, because that's the next low. Okay. So ideally, you're getting in here, and you're let's see here. So you're going long here, and you're risking this low right here. So you're risking 21 cents to make, what is that? What is that low here? $1.50. So $1.50. That's a pretty good risk reward ratio. And ideally, you want to be like the most common one is like 3 to 1, right? You're risking $1 to make $3. Now you don't have to wait to make $3, but you can take your profit at $1 or $1.50 or $2. But you just know based on the chart that the potential of that stock going 3 times in your direction, right? 3 times based on your risk reward ratio, then that's a good trade, right? But if let's say you're getting in, you're getting in on a trade like, let's just say right here, and your profit target is like up here. But then you're like, okay, based on this trade, this stock has a high probability that it can keep going down to like this level right here, which is a 200 moving average. You have this downside and you have this upside. So then your calculation is off. it should be flipped the other way around. You should be looking at this little box right here is your risk, and this is your reward, right? And that's based on your analysis, your own analysis. So if you have a high conviction that, oh, if this trade doesn't go well in my favor and this is the downside, right? This is how much your risk. I mean, yeah, you could stop out and whatnot, but you know the target on the downside is here, or you have a high conviction that if this doesn't bounce, it's gonna go here, then your risk reward ratio is not as good. If it was like, oh, I'm buying in this bounce right here, and my profit target is here, then that's more ideal. Like as a scalper, you can do like a one-to-one risk reward ratio. Like for me, I'm okay to trade a one-to-one risk reward ratio because I know I'm in it for the shorter time frame, right? I'm not swinging it. If you're doing a swing trade, you should be like 3-to-1 risk reward ratio or better. Okay? Is that making sense? So,
Yeah, for sure.
okay. So now let's go over the how to find them. This is what I'm going to be utilizing more often is the Finviz. So the cool thing about this site is you can really narrow down what you're looking for. So let's go to screener. Okay, we're going to go to technical, and then you have the 20-day simple moving average. You can trade above or below the 20-day simple moving average. Let's say you're more of a long bias. Like you like to trade on the upside. So you want to go, okay, I want to see price above the 20 simple moving average. And then you want to see, let's say we're trading the 200, right? I want to go above the 200 simple moving average. And what I also like is the fundamental. I want to see the float. Where's the float at? Return. Do I see that? Was it descriptive? Right here. Okay, so the float, I want to be trading stocks that are oh, that's short float. Let's go to float itself. There we go. So 10 million and under. 10 million and under. Okay, this is a super volatility stock, especially if it has news or whatnot. And I want to be able to trade short. I want to be able to short them as well. Okay, so based on that, let's see what else I can add on here. Technical analysis. You can really dialed in into this. So this is like your shortcut to scanning a tradable stock. Okay, there's a lot more in here, guys, that I want you to spend some time in and just start playing with this, and you'll start seeing the results. So I'm gonna go over the charts. So here it goes. Okay, this is based on the research or the criteria that I selected. 10 million shares and below. I want to be able to short them, and then the technical side is above the 20 SMA and then above the 200 SMA. So we have a bullish momentum here. So you can click on the chart and you can see all their fundamentals based on that company, right? Let's see, shares floats. Look at this. There's only got 3.3 million shares available to trade. Okay, and then you can even fine tune it to where you can go to a sector. Let me see, where's that at? Oh, man.
These daily charts, TJ?
Yeah, these are daily charts, correct? I'm not seeing the sector in here. Okay. But yeah, you can choose a sector. Like let's say you just wanna trade like EV companies or weed or healthcare or whatever. But you can do that. But you can see the chart here, right? You can see the pattern, whatnot. Now this is starting to be bullish right here. You can see it. So this is above the 10, the 20 SMA and the 200 SMA. So in this case, you're like, oh, AC, what sector is this in? You know, is this something that aligns with the market right now? Okay. The float, and again, you can actually change this chart so you can see all of it right here. Okay. You can even narrow it down even more. Let's see, so different time frames. So as far as different time frames, what you can do is just literally go back to your Thinkorswim, and if you like to analyze them on your hourly, right? So what was that? AC, ECB? I think that was ACB. Oh, AC. You can even also filter them by how many shares they've traded. Let me see. It's been a while since I messed with this one. How many of you have used Finviz before?
I've kind of fiddled a little bit with it, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, I
That's what
know.
I was TJ. If you're subscribed, because are you using the free one or are you doing the paid subscription?
Yeah, this is the free one. Do you have a paid subscription already?
No, I was gonna ask you if it's worth it.
I don't even know what the pricing is on this, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
$24 a month. Oh, that's not bad. $25 a month. That's not bad at all. I don't, let me see here. Real-time data, intraday charts, advanced charts, technical analysis, studies brackets, correlations. Um, Max 100 screen reporter. I mean, 25 bucks. That's not bad at all. I would subscribe to it, which is
Okay.
I'm going to actually because I'm gonna need. I guess I'm gonna have to wait till what my prop firm has to offer first, or what's available for me to utilize before I subscribe to them because I may have access to this already based on being with the firm. But with that said, that's literally all like I would focus on is whatever type of stocks or setups that you're looking for, come in here, find the setups, and if it's in the right sector, which you can tell what sector's in rotation right now. Like the weed sector is really hot because they're trying to decriminalize the industry the weed industry, right? Like anybody that went to prison because of weed, that's obviously gonna be like labeled differently, or they might have a past to like restart their life or whatever. But as far as like buying weed, it might even go get into like the federal side to where it's no longer illegal, right? So with that, if that passes, um, that's pretty good to the weed industry. Even the EV industry is also really good. So I'd focus on that. Let me see what else. The stop loss. Did you guys does that make sense to you guys on the stop loss?
Yeah, when it crosses above the 20 on the opposite side.
Yeah, it's literally as simple as that. It's like, you know, if you're taking a trade to go long, right? Right, let's say right here. This setup right here, right? You took the trade to go long here and then it failed, the candle closed below the 10 and 20. Like that's it. You just switch your trade or wait for the 10 SMA to confirm to the downside, if you really want to wait, right? Uh, Sometimes the stock can really run if before you even confirm. Sometimes it's like first or second candle that's already ripped before it gives you that 10 10 to 20 crossover, like this guy right here. Let's see, this guy right here, right? Crossover to the downside. Obviously, this was a failed crossover. Your stop out would have been right here, which is look how small that is, right? It's crazy to think about. If you got in right here because this is a crossover confirmation and it didn't follow through and you had got stopped out to here. Look how small that gap of stop is, stop loss versus let's see over here. This is where the crossover, right? It's crazy. So again, guys, it works. I've been really paying attention to these setups this past week. I had four green days out of the week, so one red and four green on my trade this week. And this is strictly basing it off of this setup. Okay. The hardest part is managing your emotions to not fight the 10 and 20 SMA. Like my note literally right in front of me right here says do not fight the 10 and 20 SMA trend. If it's pointing up and you like let's say this guy right here, it's running up right here and I want to short this thing so bad because let's just say there's a resistance right here on the chart to the left. Let's just say there's a resistance level right here to the left. I'm telling myself to not fight this until this shows right here, until this area presents itself. As much as I want to anticipate this level of shorting right here, because there's a short, entry or chart topping off right here, I'm battling myself to not anticipate that because this thing can keep going because of the 10 and 20 momentum to the upside. I'm fighting the momentum. I'm hoping that everybody up here is like, all right, guys, you guys saw that? You guys see that resistance on the left? I want you guys to see it as well, and I want you guys to short it with me. Like, that's literally what you're asking from all these people that's buying up. Okay? Everybody that's buying momentum, you're asking them to think like you to say, hey, look left and let's short it together right here so we can make money. You're trying to convince them to like change their mind, which is the wrong way of thinking until they actually told you, hey, we're gonna start shorting it. We're gonna start shorting it right here. Okay. And as you can see, Tilray, he actually did come down. You would have probably gotten stopped out right here, right? Because of this spike right here, which is fine. And you would have gotten back right here, which is a small loss, right? So, um, that's that's what I've been really focusing on this weekend, guys. Watched a lot of videos, and almost all of them confirms that without consolidation like this, do not short stock. Or without consolidation like this at the bottom right here, right? Do not buy to go long. And then, of course, as you know, your confirmation is the crossover, right? Below the 10 and 20 SMA, like this. So in this case, my target on Tilray would be this guy right here, the 200 moving average, until it proves itself again here that it doesn't bounce, which it doesn't cross over the 10 and 20 to the upside, then I'm going to continue to short or get back into short, right? You could take profit right here in this level and then get back in again once the 10 and 20 presents itself to the downside. Because I guarantee you it's going to stall right here and it's probably going to chop for a little bit until it confirms really more momentum to the upside. And then volume is going to tell you, like this kind of volume is going to tell you that buyers are coming in. Is that making sense?
Yes, sir. Makes sense. Yep.
Okay. So what stock are you guys looking at this week?
I'm looking at, I think it's Lucid. It had 3 red days like on the daily, and I think it was Lucid.
Okay. Let's take a look at Lucid. I
I'm
don't know
thinking
why they
because of
chose
those three
Lucid.
red days, I heard there was like a candle formation, like the three soldiers or something like that. should have more downside right there.
Okay, I would wait. So on a daily, you see what I'm seeing here,
What
right?
we got?
So what I'm seeing is it crossed over here to the upside. Yeah, the 10 SMA is weakening, but the 20 still has an uptrend momentum. So therefore, this red candle right here has a probability of bouncing back up to the 10 SMA. And if it does build a momentum, your target's still on the upside. You still have a 200 moving average that still have a slight buying momentum, right? It's still an uptrend. It's not downtrending. And then right here, you're starting to see a basket still. So this is more like a leg up to retest this support area because this is literally a consolidation of buying already, right? The reason I say this is a consolidation of buying because this is a trend break, right? This is going to be a trend break of this guy right here, right? So as you can see, it's starting to chop sideways, and what it wants to do is we want to test this trend right here. That's what it wants to do. So you have a potential. So let me move this potential break, bouncing up and retesting this because it never tested the 200, right? It never tested the 200 moving average, which it had this trend already, and you still have an uptrend here. You see this right here? That's a higher lows. Even this guy is still a higher lows. Okay,
Hmm.
so I would consider that again. That's under the 20 SMA support on the daily, which is pretty strong. Unless Lucid has some kind of like negative report or something. Yeah, this is still an uptrend. Okay. All right. Any questions, guys? That's pretty much all I got, really. I wanted to share that A plus setup pattern that I really follow. And again, I follow that in a 1 minute and a 5 minute. And if I see that in a 1 hour, that's even better because if the 1 hour says long, let's see here, let's say in this candle right here, right? I see it right here on the 1 hour, and it's saying long. And if I see the same pattern on the 5 minute, so what day is this? 3:15. So let's see, 3:15. Oh, right here. So yeah, 3:15. Okay, look at this, 3:15. So look at this on the 5 minute. Like this confirmation couldn't be any cleaner. So in the 1 hour, you can see is the above the 10 and 20, and you have that basket, right? Right? So you can see it right here. After a sell-off and it transition, this is basically a trend break as well, right? Crossing over, okay? You can see it right here on the 5 minute above the 10 and 20. So you could have gotten in right here. You could have gotten in right here, right? You have the 200 SMA right here, which is also curling up. You have a clean cup situation. So if you couldn't see to the right, you can still see the 200 moving average is starting to curl up right at this level right here. So that's even better confirmation too. So you have the 1 hour and the 5 minute confirmation to go long. If I see that in a 1 minute, you can even see that. Let me see. The 15. Oh, it doesn't go that far back. Okay. Yeah, the 1 minute doesn't go that far back. But does that make sense? Literally, I would take this trade to go long because if the 1 hour says above the 10 and 20 and the 5 minute, which is my typically my stronger confirmation on a shorter time frame, take the trade. I'll take that trade all day. And it's been working out for me really well. How many of you have been using this setups in the past week or month?
I definitely been keeping an eye on the 10 and 20 and just timing my entries when they're like confirming that side.
How's that been working out for you though? Like what is your trade looking like? Like more wins?
I feel like when I look at it and I check it, it works. But there have been times that I'm kind of like, oh, I think it's gonna go this way, and I forget to look at the 10 and 20 for whatever reason, and then and then I go back and I'm like, oh, that's why it didn't go. Like 10 and 20 weren't in my favor.
Hmm.
So I think when I do pay attention to it, which I need to even more, I see that it works out more times than not.
Right. Yeah, I've literally reviewed all of my losing trade, and it comes down to the 10 and 20. Like I'm hoping for the 10 and 20 to fail against the trend. Like let's say this trend right here, right? Like let's say um, during the day I'm like, okay, I shorted this here and now it's bouncing, and I'm hoping that this area right here to the left, this area right here of resistance, it's gonna go in my favor to for this to slam back down, to reject, to come down, right? I'm mentally forcing the stock to go in my favor versus what the indicators is saying, right? The indicator is really saying like you have three layers of support right here, right? To break. Like you want them to go against its indication of momentum, which is it happens, but it doesn't happen often enough for you to rely on as a trade setup, right? Because we know that you're going against the momentum of the 10 and 20, and if you're shorting right here, now you're really hoping that everybody will go against the momentum, which is a losing probability. Okay. I'm not saying it won't happen. It will happen. It has happened, but it's a losing probability. And we want to play the higher probability side, which is following the trend. That makes sense?
That the other way doesn't have an edge. It's just kind of hoping for it to go that way, but it
Exactly.
can, but it doesn't always go that way because it's not like an edge kind of trade.
Exactly. Right. It's a lower probability to trade on. And it's also a bad practice to be hoping for the trend to go against the momentum, because the moment it does go your way, you feel like I can do it again. I can do it again. It's gonna happen again. Hopefully it happens this time because I need it to bail me out of this bad trade. Right? I've been there. Trust me. I've been there. I've been on that losing trade on that trade, and I'm praying that the momentum reverses randomly and I can get out of this bad trade. And I have been saved before. And it's such a bad practice, and you can feel it. You can feel it on your gut when you know it's a bad trade, because you're like, oh, please, please just reverse. Please just reverse. And it's a bad trade. Versus the other good trade is like, oh yeah, this is going my way. I'm following all my indicators. Everything lines up. This should keep going up. And it's an easy feeling because you're going with the trend. You're going with the momentum versus the other way around of hoping and praying that it goes in your favor, right? Even though you could literally like assist or analyze the pattern and go, this thing is telling me it can keep going up. It can keep going up, but I'm hoping that it's gonna fail. I'm hoping it's gonna fail. That's when you know it's a bad trade.
Hold and hope is not a good strategy.
No, definitely not. Okay. How many of you can relate to that type of feeling when you're in a trade and your mental analysis is like, oh man, this can keep going up. This is gonna keep going up because I can see it can go here, but I'm on the opposite trade right now. How many of you have been there?
Me all the time.
Oh yeah.
Versus you could be just like, oh fuck, I'm fighting the trend, just get out. Who the fuck care? Like just get out and wait for another setup. That's it. That's all trading is. It's mental battle. Okay. All the indicators can tell you which side of the trades you should be taking, but your mental side is like not willing to let go. All right. Any questions so far, guys? I think we're wrapping up to an hour. I just wanted to share that with you. Tomorrow's Monday. Review all of your trades, winning trades, losing trades. Go back through them tonight or tomorrow morning before the market opens, and just be honest to yourself. Did you fight the trend? Did you follow the 10 and 20 setups? Or were you hoping that it could fail and reward your bad trades? Okay? So review them, be honest to yourself, follow the setup, guys. Follow the setups. Literally. It doesn't matter if it's news or whatever catalyst it is to the stock. The 10 and 20 SMA will not lie to you. If the stock is good, the pattern will present itself on the chart right in front of you to which side you're going to trade. If the news is good, if the news is bad, whatever direction it's going, literally the 10 and 20 will guide you to the right trade. So stop fighting it, follow the setup, follow the basket, right? Curling up, curling down, whatever it is, just don't fight it. And I truly believe that you're going to be a profitable trader. Just follow that consistently. Okay.
Sir, can't wait for tomorrow.
All right, guys. Let's get ready for tomorrow. Happy Sunday. We'll see you all tomorrow at 6 a.m.
Sounds
See
good,
ya.
man. Have a good one,
All
guys.
right. See you
Thanks,
guys.
TJ. Bye bye.
You're welcome.
You.